Imagine you sell hot sauce. You spent months perfecting the recipe. You finally launch it. And the very first review comes in. 1 star. This destroyed my mouth. I cried. My dog looked at me with pity. Do not buy. And your sales triple. Not a typo, not a fluke. Triple. Because something very strange happens when people read a bad review. Something that companies have quietly figured out, and that most of us have never stopped to think about. A bad review is not always a warning. Sometimes it is the best advertisement a product will ever get. Here is the question I want you sitting with. If a product has terrible reviews, why do people keep buying it anyway? And more importantly, why do some of those people come back for more? The answer is not stupidity. The answer is not stubbornness. Although sometimes a little bit of both. The real answer is buried inside how human beings actually make decisions. And once you see it, you will never look at a 1-star review the same way again. Let's start with a question that sounds obvious but really isn't. If you were shopping online and a product had 5 stars across 4,000 reviews, not a single complaint every single person delighted, would you trust it? Honestly, most people don't. And there is research to back this up. A study from Northwestern University found that products rated between 4.2 and 4.5 stars consistently outsell products rated a perfect 5.0, not 4.9, not 4.8. A perfect 5.0 actually makes people suspicious, because deep down, everyone knows nothing is perfect, and if something looks perfect, someone is lying. A product with a 4.3 and a few grumpy 1 stars mixed in feels real. It feels like an actual product that actual humans have actually used. Some loved it. Some hated it. Just like life. The bad reviews are not dragging the product down. They are making it believable. But here is where it gets genuinely interesting. Studies show that the first thing most people do when they find a product they like is sort the reviews by lowest rated. Not highest, lowest. We go hunting for the problems, the complaints, the disasters. And what happens next is the thing that should fascinate you. We read the 1-star review. It says, the blender is too loud. You live alone. You don't care. It says the delivery took 2 weeks. You're not in a rush. Fine. It says the color is slightly different to the photo. You were buying it for the garage anyway. So you scroll back up, look at the product again. And now, you don't just want it. You've already argued yourself into buying it. The bad reviews didn't talk you out of the purchase. They gave you permission to make it. Let's go back to our hot sauce. Someone reads the review. This destroyed my mouth. I cried. My dog looked at me with pity. Now, person A reads this and thinks, I will never touch that. Person B reads this and thinks, how hot can it actually be? Person C reads this and immediately screenshots it to send to 3 friends. And all 3 of them buy it by Friday. The review did something the product page never could. It created a story, a character, a specific, vivid human experience. A product page says, this hot sauce is very spicy. A 1-star review says, a grown adult cried and their dog felt sorry for them. Which one makes you want to try it? Some brands figured this out a long time ago. Liquid death is canned water. That's it, water, in a can. And people lost their minds over the price. $5 for water, it's water. It comes out of a tap, for free. They didn't panic. They didn't discount, because they understood something crucial. A customer complaining it costs too much is telling every other customer it's worth something. Price complaints are not negative reviews. They are accidental quality signals. Flamin' Hot Cheetos built an entire cult following on the back of one simple promise. It will hurt. Parents warned their kids. Doctors issued actual advisories. People filmed themselves crying eating them. Marmite ran an entire decades-long campaign around the fact that half the country hates it. Love it or hate it. 4 words turned a bad review into a brand identity. So why does this work? Why do bad reviews so often help rather than hurt? The first reason is something psychologists call social proof. We do not trust silence. We trust noise. Even negative noise tells us that real people are engaging with this thing, that it exists in the world, that people have opinions about it strong enough to sit down and write them. A product with 0 reviews is terrifying. A product with 2,000 reviews, including 200 angry ones, is a product people clearly care about. The second reason is something called reactance. When someone tells us not to do something, something very childish happens inside our brain. We want to do it more. Do not eat this if you have a low spice tolerance. Challenge accepted. Not for people who prefer subtle flavors. Now I need to know what this tastes like. warning labels, angry reviews, cautionary tales. They all do the same thing. They make the thing more interesting than it was before the warning. The third reason is targeting. A bad review filters out the wrong customers and sends exactly the right ones running towards the checkout. Think about it this way. You are selling a weighted blanket. Someone leaves a 1-star review saying it is too heavy and they felt trapped. Counterproductive, you might think. Except, every single person who wants a blanket, specifically because it feels heavy and cocooning, just found their product. The bad review described the feature. The unhappy customer just could not call it that. If someone says this chair is incredibly firm and not comfortable for long sittings, every person who needs a posture chair just had their question answered. Buy. The bad review is not advertising to everyone. It is advertising precisely to the person who needs it most. Now, there is a line here, and some brands trip over it spectacularly. There is a difference between a bad review that sells a product and a bad review that buries it. The hot sauce review works because the complaint is funny and subjective. It destroyed my mouth. That is a preference, not a defect. The review that kills a product sounds different. The glass broke on day 2. The wiring was completely exposed out of the box. Customer service told me to figure it out myself. Those are not preference complaints. Those are quality complaints. And no amount of psychology turns those into sales. The rule, roughly, is this. If the complaint is about who the product is for, it helps. If the complaint is about what the product does, it hurts. Too spicy, too loud, too expensive, too intense, too niche. All gold. Broke immediately. Dangerous, false advertising, company ignores complaints. Burn it down. So, back to the question. If a product has terrible reviews, why do people keep buying it anyway? Because a bad review is a human being talking, with personality, with frustration, with comedy sometimes. And nothing sells a product like a real person having a real reaction to it. Think about the last product you bought because a friend complained about it. You know exactly what I mean. They said the restaurant was obscenely loud. You booked a table that weekend. They said the book was deeply uncomfortable to read. You downloaded it that night. They said the gym class nearly killed them. You signed up for Monday. Word of mouth has always been the most powerful form of marketing, and a bad review is word of mouth with the volume turned all the way up. A 5-star review says, "This is great." A 1-star review says, "This made me feel something." And feeling something is the beginning of every purchase ever made. The brands that understand this don't delete the bad reviews. They don't panic about the angry customers. They don't chase the impossible perfect rating. They lean into it. They let the right people be repelled, so the right people feel found. The next time a brand gets a 1-star review that goes viral, watch what happens to the sales figures. Because 9 times out of 10, they go up. Not despite the review, but because of it. Next time you are shopping and you find yourself scrolling to the worst reviews first, notice what you are actually doing. You are not looking for reasons to walk away. You are looking for permission to stay. And somewhere in a boardroom, someone is counting on exactly that. The 1-star review. The angry customer. The person who cried eating hot sauce while their dog watched in silence. All of them doing the best marketing the company never paid for.